गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। निताय गौरांग जय, निताय गौरांग, निताय गौरांग जय, निताय गौरांग, निताय गौरांग जय, निताय गौरांग, निताय गौरांग जय। गौर हरि, गौर 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 हरि, जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। पतित पावन गौर हरि, मायापुर चंद्रोदय गौर हरि। गौर 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 हरि, जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि। नदिया विहारी गौर हरि, कलिमल हारी गौर हरि। जय पंचतत्व, जय पंचतत्व, पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व। जय प्रह्लाद नृसिंह, जय अनंत देव, प्रह्लाद नृसिंह जय अनंत देव, जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव, सुभद्रा माई जय, जय सुदर्शन, जय राधा माधव अष्ट सखी, गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, जय जय गुरुदेव, निताई गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताई गौर हरि। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहें जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन जी महाराज की जय। ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। क्षमा चाहता हूँ। साकेत अयोध्यापुरी धाम की जय, गंगा मैया की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। All glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Last week we read around 5 verses, and the bottom line of those 5 verses was that Maharaj Janak or people like him did not have any obligation to perform the prescribed duties. Still, they did it for the sake of the common people, for the welfare of common people. Today's class is actually not about people like us. So, there will be less burden on you when you hear this class. Today's class is about someone else. Krishna, in the next 5 verses, is just reinforcing about those people who are so advanced that they have no obligation to perform the prescribed duty. They are amazingly advanced people, perpetually situated in proper Krishna consciousness. And even then, Krishna recommends that they should do it so that common people can follow. Last week, the whole class was, if you recall, I had begun with how Salman Khan, not came up with, but with Salman Khan, this obsession with V-shaped body, you know, picked up pace. And then there were mushrooming of gyms in nooks and corners of this country, and multiple examples I gave, the kind of hairstyle I talked about, sadhana cut and Sanjay Dutt also, and then people followed those hairstyle. So just the idea was to establish the truth that if Krishna says something, then it is 100% truth. So when the Lord says yat yat acharati shreshtha tat tat devo janatara, so as as a great person behaves, the common people follow. So that was where we started last week. And then we ended it on people like Janak. So the whole idea was to establish it firmly. But now, because Bhagavad Gita is the study of the nature of divinity, and divinity is non different from Krishna. So, therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the study of the nature of God, and Krishna is the Supreme God. So, these 10 verses effectively in chapter 3 establish firmly this point that there are people who have obligations to work. You, me, we fall under that category. Great people, they don't have the obligation, but they should also work. So keep this context in your brain when you are hearing this class. It will help you. It's not about you, but let's hear about someone else. Those great people, people like Maharaj Janak. So let's see what Krishna is saying next. This is, we are beginning from verse number 22nd. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Scroll down. Translation and purport has been given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The Lord continues, O son of Prithi, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in the Vedic literature as follows. I'm just going directly to the translation. The Supreme Lord is the controller of all other sorry, controller of all other controllers, and he is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. I will just I'll pause for a moment to let you know so that you become familiar with some terminology. The term Ishwar, the literal meaning of the word Ishwar is controller. Father is the Ishwar for the child because father has partial control over child. Demigods have greater control on living entities, so they are bigger Ishwar. And then Lord Shiv has even greater control, so he is Maheshwar. And then Krishna has complete control over the living entity, therefore he is Parameshwar and therefore Parameshwar. So the term Ishwar, you should be, because you have been now hearing Bhagavad Gita for a few months, you should be familiar with this term Ishwar, Maha Ishwar or Maheshwar, and then Parameshwar. But the term Ishwar means controller, one who controls. Guru also is a Ishwar, and parents are also Ishwar. For a wife, husband is Ishwar, and he's a representative of the Supreme Lord, like that. And then demigods can exert bigger control on us, you know. And then Lord Shiva can exert even bigger. Krishna can exert complete control. So here that now in this line, in this background, if you will read, you will be able to easily relate. The Supreme Lord is the controller of all other controllers. Krishna controls father, husband, demigods, Lord Shiva, everyone. So that's the context. And he is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. So you may have Yamaraj, for Yamapuri, and then you have for the nether regions, which are the ones lower than earth. At least at one place, Maharaj Bali is the leader. And then, in Janalok, Maharlok, Tapalok, where various planets, various leaders are there. Then Krishna is the greatest leader. That is what is stated in Vedic scriptures. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all demigods and is the supreme director of all directors, not supreme, sorry. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. So, controller, director, and the supreme cause of all causes. Sometimes you may think, how should I think about God? Then these verses act as your guide to motivate, sorry, to meditation. These are your, these little four liners. They act as a very potent, bona fide tools for meditation. So, 3 points you should meditate upon if you want to think about Krishna. One is he's controller of all, he's director of all directors, which means which direction wind should blow, what action somebody should take. You know, he is the director of all the directors. So we are directed by the Dikpals. There are 10 directions, and there are, what's the term for that? Adhisthata Dev, presiding deities of those directions. But the Lord directs even them. And then He is the cause of all causes. But He is not the immediate cause, He is the remotest cause. Like you pick up a, you know, cigarette and light it and, smoke. Then Krishna is not the cause of it. You have to understand. So then what is Krishna's role? He is in the background offering this as a facility. Now, the misuse of independence, due to that, you are doing it, so you are responsible. He is not responsible. But if you look at the remotest cause of all causes, yes, had he, in the first place, had he not provided it, we wouldn't have ever thought of cigarette as a choice. So he created the ambience, and then we had the feeling. So good use or bad use of independence is something that is personal to the soul. Rest of it, like, parents are not responsible for the mess that their children create in the respective rooms. They leave the children at home, go to work, and children can keep the room tidy or make a mess out of it. But at the same time, the parents gave the room, the home, to the children. So yeah, they are responsible, but responsible not in a way that responsible for the fall down. So he is the cause of all causes, but not that he is responsible for your misdeeds. Jeev himself is completely responsible. He has given plenty of instructions in scriptures to guide the soul to not misuse the independence, but he does not meddle into the independence of the soul. So the soul sometimes makes good use of it, sometimes makes bad use of it. But that's not today's main point of discussion. I'm just saying, if you want to think about Krishna, sometimes in the morning sitting in a lotus posture, or in a normal sukhasana, then you should think like this. He is the supreme controller, he is the supreme director, and he is the cause of all causes. This is the bona fide method of meditation upon the supreme truth. Not that you light a candle and the flame emerges and you pay attention to the point of the flame, and this way you develop better concentration. And you naturally, because you are focused on one thing, all your other things, all your concerns, worries, they go in the background. As long as they are in the background, your system, the blood flow in your system is smooth and unobstructed, and therefore it gives you more concentration and better life. All of that is achievable through a normal meditation. But purification of consciousness happens when you understand the nature of God, because then you align with that nature, which means such meditations of, meditating on a flame, etc., will help you concentrate better. But concentrate on what? That you will understand when you read Shastra, that I have to meditate upon this. Then you meditate. So one should know this. He does not possess a bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. Shvetashvatar Upanishad 6.7 and 8. This is just way too deep and way too good. There is no inside outside in Krishna. His hand is, you know, immortal. His hand doesn't change. His legs also don't change. His face also doesn't change. It doesn't age also. And God is a person. Nava Yovanam cha. He's always full of transcendental beauty, aging somewhere around 15 years and a few months. 16वें साल में ही रहते हैं. He never ages. He's timeless. These tiny people who achieve some little perfection, they claim that they are God. I mean, you will read in Bhagavad Gita after a few months, Krishna says,
Prabhuji, one doubt.
yes,
Actually,
Prabhu.
other place they have told that God is a person, like 11th chapter or somewhere they have told we should pray in he as a person, uh, he has a personal form. But here we are telling he does not possess a bodily form. This is not clear.
Yeah, so very nice question. He does not possess a bodily form like us, as in the material body. So we have Badri Vishal Prabhu three bodies. We have a physical, we have a subtle, and we have a causal body. We have knowledge of physical and to some extent subtle, but we have barely any knowledge of causal body. Krishna doesn't have the first two. He has the causal body. He is always Sachidanand Ghan. He is mistakeless. We also all have Sachidanand bodies, but we can't reach to our own bodies right now because we are very much obsessed with enjoying through this outer layer. So we are enjoying our senses through the outer body, and therefore we never get access to the one which is permanent. This is all temporary. So I hope you understand that the God doesn't possess a physical body. He doesn't possess a contaminated body of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Also, he doesn't have it. We have it. He is always pure. ये लास्ट के दो लाइन देखिए ना. It says, as a natural sequence, things happen for him. He doesn't have to course correct. Suppose he says something, then that something is without his effort is absolute. It is absolute. In all circumstances, it will remain absolute. Even if he says it casually, he says it out of anger, whichever mood he says. His anger is also justified, that is absolute. His smile is absolute. His crying is absolute. No matter what he does, natural sequence, he's completely organized. His thought system never becomes perverted. He's just way too wonderful. I mean, can you imagine somebody? He doesn't feel frustrated. He doesn't have even iota of anxiety. Always blissful, complete, not partial. He is like that. And when he says, I am the greatest, it is not out of ego. Like grass is green and sky is blue and God is great. They are all factual statements. And then he says, like, you see a necklace and those various pearls which are strung. He says, I am the thread. If I am out, all of this will just, cease to exist. So, through these two verses of Shvetashvatara Upanishad, we all must understand the transcendental position. Those of you who do not know or understand the word transcendental, literally it means which is beyond physical. Suppose your height is 5 feet and you can jump 2 feet. So, which means 7 feet is the height that you can reach. Then Krishna begins from 7.1. That means you can never touch him because he's transcendental, he's beyond physical, beyond subtle. Where we end, where our limits end, his limits begin. This is what transcendental means. Divya, Sadaiva Divya, always transcendental. Not that sometimes when I am in good mood, I reach transcendence. No, he's always transcendental. Krishna never feels, oh, let me go that house and enjoy. No, he doesn't. But if somebody misses him, he becomes crazy. He misses that person 10 times more. If somebody wants to serve him, Krishna will create situations and get the service. He's so full of love. Prema Murti. If the if love has to have a shape, a form, then Krishna is love personified. Is mercy personified also. And for Hiranyakashipus of the world, he is anger personified as well. Devotees maintain their affinity towards the favorable features of the Lord. Demons unknowingly maintain their affinity towards the ghastly features of the Lord. And those ghastly features are also contamination less. They are completely pure. But when Arjun saw it in the Virat Roop, he said, who are you? And then he requests, please come back to that two-handed form of yours, which is the most beautiful form to look at. So the Lord is absolute. More and more and more you think about his qualities. Today we are reading one of his qualities. And that one quality is, though he is not obliged to run this world, he still never stops working for this world. I'm so happy and so fortunate to be discussing this singular quality of Krishna with you today. Why am I so happy? Because more I read about him, more blissful I feel. That wow, great people and greatest person also never stops working. Irrespective of the power you have. Once we were in a meeting, and this was a physical meeting at Guru Maharaj's quarter, and Harisori Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada's personal servant and a very senior devotee, he asked Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj was at that time, you know, doing exercise and also attending the meeting simultaneously. He said, "How are you, Maharaj?" The Guru Maharaj responded saying, "I'm serving Krishna with whatever I'm left with," which means that the body is not cooperating, the efficiency has decreased, but the desire to serve doesn't get affected. If I have 10 kg, I will serve with 10 kg. If I have 5, I'll serve with 5. Not like, oh, I'm so unfortunate. No, no. Vishwadev is lying on the bed of arrows and people are coming. He know he can't get up. Then with his eyes, he gestures and conveys his greetings. So never stop working. Let's read because we have a lot to cover today. Sorry. Yeah. Some Since everything is in full opulence in the personality of Godhead and is existing in full truth, there is no duty for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to perform. One who must receive the results of work has some designated duty, but one who has nothing to achieve within the three planetary systems certainly has no duty. And yet, Lord Krishna is engaged in the battlefield of Kurukshetra as the leader of the Kshatriya because the Kshatriyas are duty bound to give protection to the distressed. Although he is above all the regulations of the revealed scriptures, he doesn't do anything that violates the revealed scriptures. Amazing paragraph. First, Prabhupada established the Lord's supremacy through scriptural references. Then Prabhupada came to the point mentioned in the verse itself. He says, you understand his position. He is transcendental, supreme controller, supreme director, cause of all causes. He has no scarcity. Okay, if it is not clear, understand it like that. Each one of you sitting, imagine in your bank account, you get 5,000 crores each. It's there. You have no need to work anymore. Not just you, maybe perhaps many generations of yours don't need to work at all. But still, you get up and you go to work the way you used to go earlier. That's Krishna. You have no obligation to work anymore, but you still work. Dear devotees, don't try to copy it. That's not. I have already shared at the very beginning of the class. This is not about us. This is by hearing this particular quality, some purification will happen in us. What will be that? Because we feel inspired looking at the Lord's character, looking at the Lord's qualities, rather I should say, then we will be more regular in the discharge of our duties. That's the benefit. In a cricket match, when you hit a six, you don't have to run between the wickets 6 times. You just get it. Similarly, when you see the quality of somebody who is greatest, automatically, unknowingly within you, something changes. And you don't have to work so hard for that. That's the beauty of association. Your reference points change. Earlier, you were like, oh, okay, I could hit a single, I could go for a, 2 runs, I could go for a boundary. Then I went for a six, gradual. But when you hear about six first time and you feel like I should hit the six, then you cross over the ones and the twos and the fours. Automatically you cross over because your bar has gotten raised way too much. Similarly, when you hear about the wonderful qualities of Krishna, even you without ever thinking I should have one of these, within you something is breaking up while you are hearing it. Within you something is changing now. Somebody is dying in your body now. Some old unearth which was already very weak in you has left body because you are meditating on the quality of the supreme truth. That is what reading does to us. So the Lord has no scarcity, no dearth, no dependence, but He works. We have 5,000 crore rupees in our account, but we work. And you have no such example. Sun works, Ganga works, Earth works, Krishna works. All these great people do. Continuously they work. If you can ever visualize perpetuity or perpetually working, that's the right word. People who are perpetually working, they are situated in a different realm of consciousness, in a different realm, altogether different. You cannot work perpetually. Watch our sentences. Oh, this Saturday I will rest because I have worked, I have slogged for 5 days. Given a choice, we don't want to work. We are forced to work from this consciousness. And I'm not talking about going to office and slogging yourself. I'm talking about doing your prescribed duty, which means when I am a husband, I'm doing the duty of a husband and doing it blissfully, like Dwarkadhish did. When I'm a father, I'm performing the duty of a father, taking my son or daughter to school, this, that, managing all the things which are related with the education. When I'm a son, I'm behaving like one. These are prescribed duties, not just going to office. That's a very, very narrow this thing. One who is completely aware of the self can actually get into these multiple roles without forgetting that he is neither a son nor a father, nothing. But he has desired and got this role, so he's doing it. Then that fellow can do perpetually. He won't get tired. And after a while, those obligatory duties will themselves get over. Education of the children get over, you know, your requirement to financially sustain, that becomes, after a while you are better off, you don't need to do, so then that also gets over. So gradually your duties towards your children, you get them married off, your parents pass away, all of those things happen. So these duties are never permanent, but when they are there, great people perform them with ease. As they say, karna hai to karna hai, not out of mode of passion. These are great people. They do it to teach others. And first, the Lord gave the example of Janak. Then Krishna says, I am also like that. And that's where Bhagavad Gita, that is how it next, when you will complete this whole course of Bhagavad Gita, you will know that all that has been written about it was wrong. कर्म करो, फल की चिंता मत करो, तुम क्या लाए थे जो तुमने खो दिया, तुम खाली हाथ आए थे. The primary message of Krishna is come back. For that, to achieve that objective, surrender. For surrender, understand who I am. To understand who He is, understand who you are, and then understand the setting in which you are today. So, Kal, Karma, Prakriti, Jeev, Paramatma, all 5 elements you will understand. That's Bhagavad Gita. Here we are reading about nature of the divinity. That's Prakriti. There are 2 types of natures. One is inferior, one is superior. This is superior, Paraprakriti. That is Aparaprakriti. Earth, water, air, ether. That's Apara. This is superior, Paraprakriti. And you are reading about him. Let's move to the next verse. Yadi hayaham न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. What will happen if Krishna doesn't work? For if I ever failed to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Parth, certainly all men would follow my path. Where is it coming from? Can anybody answer what is the relationship between this verse and a verse we discussed last week? I'll be very happy if you can give a perfect, correct answer. My question is, read this translation carefully and relate or connect it with which verse which we read. We read 5 verses last week. Which verse does it relate to? Anyone?
मैं बताऊं प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्ण।
आप रुकिए माता जी, कोई और देखते हैं, उसके बाद फिर ठीक है. All right, you tell me, Mataji.
यद् यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठ।
Yes, yat yat acharati shrestha. Because he has already established with whatever a great man does, common men follow. अरे सारे नेता चोर हैं, अपन क्यों रुकें? अरे सब ऑफिस में लेट आते हैं, तो मैं ही क्यों जाऊं? श्रेष्ठ का आचरण देखकर others are shifting their conduct, their behavior. When the world will understand that the Lord, Supreme Lord Himself doesn't engage in fulfilling prescribed duties, and then the adjective, carefully performing, not lazily, not carelessly, carefully performing. And He says, if I don't do it, everybody will follow my path. So they will also not do it. What will happen with that? Kids won't be able to go to school. There will be no marriages. Nobody will take responsibility of kids. Parents will die out of lack of care. Husbands won't be loyal to wives and vice versa, because everybody has given up on the prescribed duties. Now, welcome to Kali Yuga. This is precisely what is happening, and it will continue to grow more and more. They have forgotten the idea of prescribed duty. It doesn't mean Krishna has stopped doing. No, he is still providing air, sunlight, everything is coming. But we have, out of our free will, misuse of free will, we have stopped perform. We need contraceptives so that we don't have to take responsibility of children. What is happening? I don't know. Miami recently, a lady called Neha Gupta, a pediatrician, she killed her 3 year or 4 year old baby. First, she killed the baby. Second, she threw the baby in swimming pool. Then she called 911 and she said she drowned. The autopsy and this post-mortem report rather confirm that the child has left body even before entering the water, and there were clear marks of scratches and all. So there was an external injury on the child, and that is it. I'm just saying the whole idea of prescribed duty, because people don't read Bhagavad Gita. If you just read this line, or you could connect with the previous verse, but you didn't understand the grave ramifications, consequences of such an attitude. Wives are taking husbands on honeymoon and killing. Okay, fine. At least some part of it could be understood. Mother killing a child. How much emotionally cold one has to be. Father, I can still understand. Manu Samhita says mother loves a child 100 times more than the father. This is what happens when you do not follow the path laid out by authorities. Now, just imagine if everybody sticks to their prescribed duties, you don't need to go to Vaikuntha. There will be adequate rainfall, there will be nice produce of wheat and all other types of eatables. There will be plenty of milk and preparations made out of milk, and everybody will get it. Because Krishna says rain happens, man subsists on grain, grain happens due to rain, rain happens due to yajna, and yajna happens when prescribed duty happens. So the loss of prescribed duty is the cause of suffering. So you are seeing what is happening. Let's read the purport quickly. In order to keep the balance of social tranquility for progress in spiritual life, there are traditional family usages meant for every civilized man. Although such rules and regulations are for the conditioned souls and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of religion, he followed the prescribed rules. Otherwise, common men would follow in his footsteps because he is the greatest authority. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna was performing all the religious duties at home and out of home as required of a householder. Lord Chaitanya also performed Shraddha, telling the common people, don't give up on the Shraddha ceremony, keep doing it. Krishna would obey and get the shoes of Nanda Maharaj when he was way too young. I mean, 5,000 years back, if today's laws were to exist, Nanda Baba would be in jail because he's sending child labor. He's sending all these young cattle with these little children. The children can be hurt. How far we have come in our own country. I mean, Supreme Court cleared a law which says that if the husband wants to maintain an affair and illicit sex life, he can maintain, and wife can also maintain. What is the sanctity of marriage then? This is India. Today, if your wife has an affair, she can have an affair. Wow. You killed a whole institution. Civilized people doesn't mean people with good homes. Civilized people means people with higher consciousness. And higher consciousness leads to immortal life. That is the purpose. And for that, reduction in sense gratification is a mandatory requirement. So, though we are living in this country, the laws are, the idea was to ensure that the child is not abused. It doesn't mean the idea was that the child should not be trained up. Why are they committing suicides at mass scale? Because their minds did not get sufficiently engaged into activities. Because when we went to engage, you said this is child exploitation. I'm not saying parents weren't at fault. I'm just saying the laws, the kind of laws that are coming out today, are fueling the growth of Kali. Let's read the next one. Utseduyureme loka न कुर्याम कर्म चेदहम संकरस्य च करता स्यामुपन्नम मिमा प्रजा. Please scroll down. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Nothing personal would happen to Krishna. Mind you, he will still remain the supreme person. But the living entities will come under severe trouble. Sankarasya. Let's read. Varna Sankar is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society. In order to check this, check means control this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized for a spiritual progress in life. Here, Prabhupada is talking about you don't need artificial contraceptives. If your consciousness is engaged in service to the Lord, gradually you will enjoy this world a little, feel fed up from it, and then you can come back. So the whole world will gradually not need any artificial mean. They will all become so happy due to the bliss of spiritual life. They will achieve this higher taste. This was the idea of performing prescribed duties and having a spiritual culture at home. Then you don't need that. But if that does not happen, and if you are thinking Varna Sankar is the only thing, no, it is not. Endless eating is inviting diseases. Endless emotional chip chip with your relatives is also inviting trouble. So, sense gratification of any type. So, what happens then? You fall down from the prescribed duty. I am a mother, but I like my younger child more. So, when I'm distributing the property, I'll give my younger child more. But that's not prescribed duty. You should have followed your duty. She didn't. All of that due to lack of education. I will further go on to read. When Lord Krishna descends, naturally he deals with such rules and regulations in order to maintain the prestige and necessity of such important performances. The Lord is the father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided, indirectly the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is general disregard of regulative principles, the Lord Himself descends and corrects the society. We should, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footsteps of the Lord, we still have to remember that we cannot imitate Him. Following and imitating are not on the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting Govardhan Hill as the Lord did in His childhood. It is impossible for any human being. We have to follow His instruction, but we may not imitate Him at any time. The Srimad Bhagavatam affirms it. Keep going. One should, sorry, one should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and His empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva. So don't think that, you can act like Lord Shiva and just be, you will immediately die. So, following imitation has been cleared, and I'm sure all of you have understood it. The main thing was that if Krishna does not establish the path of religion, then people will become irreligious. Therefore, he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. This glanir is disregard. Then he says, Dharma samsthapana arthai, for the purpose of establishing the principles of religion. So first is dharma glani, and second is dharma samsthapana. And that is his duty. He does it because he expects all of us to keep on. Krishna expects us to be so mature. He says, you came here to enjoy All right, enjoy, but then make sure you follow prescribed duties. You will be able to enjoy, don't worry. Then we say, no, we want to enjoy, but not this duty and all. Endless enjoyment without any duty. Can it happen? कर दो ना please. आप तो सब कुछ कर सकते हो. Those stupid prayers are heard almost everywhere. He has laid out the principles of religion, and whenever there is a disturbance, then he appears millennium after millennium. So we should always consider the position of the Ishwars. Since we have less time, only 3 minutes left. Mataji, can we first cover the translation of the two verses? I wouldn't want to touch on this again. Just go to the translation. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to the results, the learned men similarly act, but with attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. I would want to read it again. I'm sorry. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to result, the learned may similarly act, yeah, but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. And last verse, which is there. So as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Now you can remove the screen, Mataji. The other two purports, I would request that you all, if you haven't read them, read it. Bottom line of today's class was great people, though they are not obliged to work, they work to teach common people. For us, the lesson is we are common people, and therefore we should try to fulfill our prescribed duty. What is the biggest prescribed duty? Chanting your rounds regularly and as attentively as possible. That is the duty towards the soul. Reading scripture to understand the nature of divinity is also a prescribed duty for the soul. Once you are done with association of devotee, Krishna Prasad, service of the deities at home, preaching, reading Shastra, these are spiritual duties. They should be there. Right after that, the mind and the intelligence, should be sufficiently sharpened via methods of tranquility, uh, via what you call this meditation, etc., pranayam, etc. Then through light exercises, purification of the outer layer of the body, and then your job, which is there of 6 hours, 8 hours a day, alongside the duties of being a husband, a father, a mother, a this, or that, all of that. Continuously, one who does that, he becomes like Lord Raja Janak. He does it for the sake of doing it. That's it. And he continues to do it irrespective of pluses or minuses. I worked hard so much on my child and the child failed. I'll not work on him anymore. No, you may work, child may fail. Duty was to work. That's it. Keep trying. After that, if he doesn't make it, doesn't make it. Fine. Next. You did what you were supposed to do. And that's what matters. So, lastly, never force people to stop work. Are, why are you stuck here? You don't know the purpose of life. What will this DRDO give you? Once you retire, you will need God. So give up, leave early. Don't do those things. You should rather encourage them, invite them over for prasad, share with them Krishna's message, let them excel at their work because they are doing prescribed duties. And gradually, help them grow in their consciousness. So never abruptly tell people that their life is useless. Preaching should be with a lot of affection, with a lot of love, with a lot of encouragement. So that's the bottom line. I think I have already shot over by 5 minutes. Thank you for being such patient audience. And I would now close the session. Next week, we will pick up a different chapter. But remember this 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, no, sorry, 18th to 22nd, or you can say 17th to 21st and 22nd to 26th. These 10 verses have a single point that, one should not give up on prescribed duty. Even the big personalities don't give up. The big personalities not giving up is the main theme of these 10 verses. This is one feature of Krishna. Today, in totality, you could understand that feature. That's it. Thank you very much. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील व्यासदेव की जय, श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय, श्री पंचतत्व भगवान की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील व्यासदेव जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरु महाराज की जय, निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेम। हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण, दंडवत
Hare
प्रणाम।
Krishna.
Thank
Dandavat
you so
pranam.
much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone to attend.
Hare Krishna Mataji.